Well, hello and welcome to the Microsoft Excel Bootcamp Part 2, I guess, depending where you start. The purpose here is to show you just how to kind of navigate around Microsoft Excel and some of the use of commands that will help you with your work. So this is what you get when you open up the spreadsheet. You usually get one tab down here. You can see I added a bunch for other parts of this talk. If you want to add more, you push this plus key and see how it just adds these sheets. And if you want to name them, you just double click it and you type in the name. If you want to make it a nice colorful name, you can do tab color and pick a nice color, and there's your sheet there. So there are program specific commands here. These are much like things that you'd see in Microsoft Word and word processing. There are other more context-specific commands having to do with layouts, data manipulations, chart formatting, and so forth. I usually work with the home screen, and I usually don't have this other stuff in the way. I work with a formatting menu that I've customized. So here's some basic stuff here, and I've already populated with some information that you can do a screen capture on and save and use as reference, or it's just there to refer to. So a couple things, just sort of basics, is like these columns, you can make them as wide or as narrow as you want. You can change how your data appears in this column by doing pushing some of these select keys. On a Mac, you will push this command key. If you have a PC, you'll be pushing the control key. So if I do command L, that left justifies everything. If I do command R, that right justifies. Command E, that will make things centered. If I want to change how titles and other elements look, I can push command B for bold, I for italics, U for underline. And any time I want to change something I've just done, I could push the same command button and push Z, and it basically reverses the last selection I've done. And actually it remembers like the last 10 things you've done. So you can go back in time about 10 commands or 10 manipulations, and that's sometimes good if you screw things up. Other commands are listed here. So to select all, you do select A. If you want to copy something, you can push command C and copy it, and then click where you want it pasted and use command V. If you want to remove some items completely wholesale, it's called cutting them. So you push command X for cut, and then you would paste with control V. Same as with copying, except now, see, we've kind of destroyed that data there. If you want, once again, if you want to kind of go back in time and reverse what you've done, you push Control Z and see we've kind of undone that removal. That's a good thing to know. Formats of cells are controlled by this command, command 1, and you're going to be using that a lot, so I'll spend a little bit of time on that one. So I'm going to push command 1, and this dialog box opens up, and this is where I tell the program how I want to treat values in that column, or I can select a row, and the same discussion applies. So that's sort of a general heading, which means you can put numbers, letters, words, whatever, and it'll just kind of leave them alone. If I really want to treat this like a formal number, I can add how many decimal places I want. In this case, it's 2, and you see how that's turned into 1.00 instead of 1. I can turn that into a date, and it basically starts numbering from January 1st, 1900. And so it can give you, so that's why, why 16 is 116. You can turn these into percentages, where again you specify number of decimal points, and anyway, you get the idea. So I'll go back to numbers with no decimal places. You will be using that a lot. The other thing that you'll be sometimes using is some of the wrap text commands. So let's say we have something in cell E that says days since last meal. And so obviously that's not going to fit into that box there. And so what I can do is I could go to alignment, again, where I can control center, left, right alignment, and I could push this wrapped text button there, and you can see that what happens is now it sort of fits into this box, and I can make this box bigger by dragging it bigger. So those are some, formatting commands that you'll be using. And then again, whatever you select, you can use some of these other selections above to change the fill-in color. Now, since you can't see the letters because of the fill-in color, I might change the lettering to be white or some lighter color. Anyway, so those are some things that are quite useful. So to complete this orientation here, some other things that you'll good to know are this thing here called the formula bar. And what that indicates is what is really going on in this cell. And so I click it and it says 1, so that's really not that exciting. But sometimes that 1 might result from, let's say we had, it can be the product of 45 times 1. Sorry, that's not 1, that's 45. But so you look at that and you say, oh, that's 45, but no, it's actually a formula that's given rise to that. So this formula bar allows you to inspect elements to see exactly what is going on there. The other window up here is the magnification bar, and sometimes when it's late at night and your eyes are about ready to pop out of your sockets and you just can't see, you might want to just change the magnification. Sometimes you want to go really small if you're just trying to look for data that's certain colors, or try to find at least where the end of the spreadsheet is. There's just a whole lot less scrolling around if everything's pretty much shrunk to nothing. And then finally, a couple aspects of just viewing your spreadsheet. What you might end up with in the end is a spreadsheet that has a huge number of rows in the thousands. This is something like 3,600. And see, as I scroll down, I can inspect individual data elements, and I can always see what they pertain to. So this is, weekend, yes or no. So 1 is like, this patient was admitted on a weekend. These guys were not, who have zeros. And so without being able to look at the column headers, I would be absolutely lost. What enables me to do that is the fact that I split this window. So I'm going to unsplit this window just to show you how to do it. So that remove split button is the same button I'm going to push to split it. So I have my columns arranged this way with headers on the top. So I'm going to just say, okay, what if I split it right here? So I'm going to click that row 5, and then I'm going to go to window, and I'm going to go to split, and now you see there's a split there. Pretty cool. Sometimes you might, so I'm going to remove that split really quick and show you one other thing that sometimes, can happen, and that is if instead of clicking over here to select that row, I click, say, right here, which is kind of in the middle of everything, and I split the window, I'm going to get a split in both dimensions. And sometimes this can be useful if you've got a bunch of row headers here as well as column headers there. As you kind of head down into the weeds, it's good to know what is on both axes. But most of the time, the way I work is I just have things in columns, at least on some of the bigger spreadsheets. So that is incredibly useful on a PC. So I showed you the commands that work on a Macintosh. On a PC, this is the way you're going to do it. And that is, you're going to go to the View tab here, and then you're going to look for this split. But before you hit the split, you're going to select a particular row that you want split. and you're going to click that, and you're going to hit split, and you're going to get a split window. And it's going to turn out just the same.